Today we are joined by Mike Grundy, former UFC featherweight and now part of the newly announced Global Fight League as one of the London team roster. Thanks for joining us today, Mike.
No problem. Thank you for having me on, mate.
So firstly, tell us about how this offer came about and how the GFL project was pitched to yourself.
Yeah, so it was a bit of a surprise, to be honest, to me, because obviously I'd retired from fighting. I was done, kind of thing, after I'd finished in the UFC. And a couple of organisations I wanted to get to, I didn't manage to get into. So I finished fighting. I retired. I didn't retire because I was old or anything. I didn't retire because I felt I'd finished in my body. Like it was just due to not the correct pay and stuff. So yeah, it was a bit of a surprise. And I seen somebody who I knew had been signed to him, and I just said, "What's the deal?" kind of thing, just out of interest. And he just said, "Somebody will be in touch soon." That's all he said, really. And then this guy got in touch, and he said, "I can get you in, and we'd love to have you on and stuff like that." And that's it. I went from there, and obviously asked what they're offering, and obviously the deals that they're offering are unbelievable. Really, really good. With the 50% pay and the retirement fund, and obviously the wage they're paying and stuff just to show. So money wise, it's very good, but also it's exciting to be a part of something new and something that's it's the first time it's happening. This format's different. I'm excited to be a part of a start of something. So it's got a little bit of fire in my belly, really.
Yeah, definitely. And like you said, obviously there's a lot of lucrative things financially and with the retirement package and stuff like that. But so how did they sort of pitch you the idea of what the GFL is going to be? Because obviously, like you said, it's a new thing with the draft, etc. But how was this sort of project pitched to yourself?
Yeah, so it was a manager I was speaking to originally, but yeah, he pitched pretty much how it's going to work. You get put into teams, and there's going to be 6 teams, different cities. Obviously like LA, Miami, London, Sao Paulo, Dubai, New York. They're the 6 cities, and then you go and get a chance to compete in those cities. And it's a points based thing that you're building up points for your team. So although you're fighting for yourself really, but to get through to the next round after the playoffs, you have to build up points for your team. So even if I win them all and my team maybe don't, or vice versa, then we still maybe not go through to the semis because it's all about points based, and it's a good thing to have a team, have a team behind you as well.
Yeah,
But since I've seen on Earl Aware, the Darren Owen is the guys who's owning it. He said a few things that like people can be drafted into other teams quite simply, and so it's going to be exciting because there's going to be a lot of change, I think, in this tournament.
okay. And do you know how the matchmaking is going to work?
I think the first show, which is going to be April time, I think the organisers pick the matches as to who's going to go against who and what team's going to go against what team. So, although we do have like Luke Barnett as a manager and of the team, and Carl Prince as a coach, I think the first show is going to be picked by the owners as to what matches who goes against who.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, the scoring system is going to be different from more sort of traditional MMA shows. What do you make of this new scoring system? Like I said, sort of more points for the finish, less for a decision.
Yeah, I think it's good. It's going to get people looking to finish more. I think it's 4 points for a finish, 3 points for a win of a decision, and then draw and then loss. But I think it's going to make people be looking for the finish a little bit more, especially if it gets to towards the end of the playoffs, and we know we need more points, for example, against a certain team. We're all going to be looking for finishes, aren't we? Because we get that extra point. So I think it's going to be an exciting format. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and you mentioned before about the retirement benefits they're offering for fighters, which is something we've sort of rarely see in the sport. Have you been aware of what these are exactly?
So by the sounds of it, like I said, there's a lot up in the air at the minute, but it sounds like whatever you earn over a season, then they put 8% into a retirement fund. So it depends what you earn over the season, then they put it into a retirement fund. And there's also a 2% insurance fund as well. So whatever you earn over the season, then you get a 2% put into an insurance fund for like obviously medical reasons, or for them really.
Are they looking to another season in 2026 with kind of have they mentioned to yourselves you might be part of that roster as well, or do you think it will be a new clean slate of roster for the new season?
Oh, I've not really got that far yet, I suppose. It's obviously this one. Everyone's very skeptical of this one, to be honest. Never mind next season, but because obviously there's a lot of money being thrown around. But it's it's just got to take a fight at a time, I suppose.
Yeah, and as you said, you're part of the London team, featuring the likes of sort of Alexander Gustafsson, Gegard Mousasi, Brett Johns. Do you expect to train with these guys at any point during the fight camps?
Yeah, we're all in a group together, and we're talking of training, especially on the London card. Whenever the London card is, it makes sense for everyone's going to get together at some point. So it makes sense to get out maybe a little bit early because you've got like Benson Henderson who's coming from obviously the States, and then Gegard Mousasi, Gustafsson, they're all traveling from Europe. So I suppose they can't travel all the time, so I suppose London card makes sense for everyone to get together and train, and that's what it sounds like it's going to happen. But it'd be good, yeah, to get a chance to train with these guys, big names in the team, and I think we've got a very strong team. I'm very confident in our team.
Who do you think are some of the best guys you've managed to get for that London team?
I think Gegard Mousasi is a very, promising guy for the team, and Gustafsson's obviously a pioneer of the team as well. So we've got some strong team members really, and Benson Henderson obviously a legend of the sport. So we're very happy with our team.
Yeah, and the rosters across the world are pretty stacked with legends of MMA. Is there anyone in particular who you would like to match up against?
I've always said throughout my career, really, I'd like to fight Chad Mendes. Chad Mendes is obviously stylistically, I think it's another legend of the sport. Again, I've always watched him. His style is something I've always liked, and his boxing into his takedowns and his ground and pound is very good. And I just think that me and him could make up a great match as well with the wrestling background and stuff like that. So, yeah, he's someone I've always said I'd like to fight, and maybe this could be the time, the blessing. We're both out of retirement, let's say, because we're both back into MMA, and I think that'd be a nice fight.
Yeah, that's great. So that's always someone you've when you're back in UFC. That was always someone you had your eyes on.
I've always said it. Yeah, he'd left the UFC by the time I got into the
Mm.
UFC, but yeah, he's someone when I've been asked that question in interviews, I've always said I think stylistically that's a great fight.
Yeah, definitely. And so he's listed obviously as a featherweight in the tournament, and a lot of the guys have been listed as their sort of the weights that the weights they used to fight at. Do you know if the weight categories are going to have sort of more leniency? Are they going to be larger?
Well, it sounds like so. Featherweight now in this organisation is actually £155, so that's like a lightweight
Right.
originally. So the way they're getting around the weight cut is basically if you've always fought at featherweight, which I have, then you have to still kind of fight at featherweight. But obviously it's £10 up from the featherweight weight, so it's you're not actually having to cut weight. So all the people who's usually in that weight category, they're going to be in and around like 155 or well a bit higher. But I'm saying they're not going to be cutting too much weight like one when they cut up to 145.
Yeah, like we said, March 19th, 2022 was your last MMA bout. And at that time, did you think that would be your final fight after that?
I did. I mean, obviously, at the time, I was at that time was kind of a tough time for me outside of sport. My dad passed, and my dad was terminally ill when I was fighting in that fight. But after that, I kind of just took some time off, and I thought I was fully finished when I finished in the UFC. But then I had some conversations with other organisations that didn't fully work out, and you know, then I thought, yeah, I'm kind of done now. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be fighting for nothing. I've done this sport for so long. Not only done the sport for so long, I put back into the sport. I teach kids. I teach MMA fighters. I put back into the sport as well. So I kind of felt that I deserved a little bit more than what I was getting offered. So that's when I kind of hung the gloves up, and then obviously this offer come around, and I couldn't really refuse it. And like I say, I'm excited for it.
So obviously, like you said, you've been putting a lot back into the sport since then and before then as well. Seen you competing in some grappling competitions since then, and I know you've been coaching. So just tell us about what you've been up to since that last fight back in 2022.
Yeah, so I mean, I have still competed a few times. I went against Aljamain Sterling on Polaris, um, which we had a good match. Not really much grappling. It was a lot of just stand up wrestling really and stuff. But yeah, I went against him, and I've been against. I went to the European Championships not long ago. Me and my son went over to Italy and did the IBJJF European Championships. I won gold in that. So I won the Europeans. So that was nice to get out there and see that I'm still enjoying competing and stuff. But other than that, I've just been grappling. And just enjoying it really and enjoying coaching. Like I'm coaching my own son, who's a big prospect in amateur right now. He fights for the SCC title on the 1st of March. And then coaching the lads in the gym who's got some good pro fighters and also some Kalen, who's obviously in the UFC.
Yeah, and like you said, your son started competing in MMA, and he's doing pretty well for himself. How's that experience been? Sort of going now, sort of coaching your son and seeing him do the walk that you used to make.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of people ask obviously about me coaching my son, but I've coached my son since he was like
Mm.
4 year old doing wrestling and stuff. So obviously there's been some challenges. You know, he's been through the teenage years of not wanting to do it or not wanting to do anything really, and you know, you there's obviously challenging times, but it's um, it's about keeping your training separate to home life. Do you know what I mean? And you know, like I would never really speak to Jack about training unless he brought it up when I was at home, for example. So just keeping it separate, and that's what keeps them. You're never forcing them, never forcing them to train and go into training, because I've seen that happen with a lot of kids. They've been forced into training and forced to go to training, and then when they turn like 16, when they can make their own decisions, they seem to just stop going to training off their own accord because I don't need to go training now because my dad's not pushing me or mum's not pushing me. Let's say. So it's about not forcing them and like I say, forcing the conversation of how you did in training when you're at home and stuff. If it's got to be happening in training, that's it. Leave it.
Yeah, and are the nerves greater for when you're watching your son fight than when you yourself was making the walk?
Yeah, 100%. Much far worse. I mean, obviously, you're in control of your own emotions when you're going to fight yourself. But I mean, I'm slightly in control as well when I'm going walking with Jack. But it's much more nerve wracking.
How do you think your time away from MMA is going to affect your performance when you come back into it? Do you think it's going to be good to have that time off, sort of rest in the body?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, my body feels great now. Still, obviously, I'm a little bit older, but my injuries and stuff have gone. I generally do feel now, especially now I've become more of a coaching role to a high level team. I've always coached all my life. That I mean, all since I was 16, I've coached, but now I'm coaching like a high level bunch of athletes, and I'm having to monitor their training and how they're training and that type of stuff. I feel that I probably actually overtrained quite a lot. I um, I was non-stop when I trained. I know I trained hard, like, and a lot of people said how hard I trained, but maybe I did a little bit too much. And me coaching these guys now, I'm having to like say, I'm actually saying to these like, yeah, like Wednesday's an easier session because you've all had a tough session last couple of days and stuff like that. And I'm starting to think, oh, I was a bit like that. Did I mean I was like non-stop? So maybe I overtrained a little bit, and now I'm a bit more clever with my training, my approach to training, and I think that's going to benefit me now in this kind of fight.
And you've achieved a lot across your sporting career already. But where would a win in a tournament like this rank amongst your sporting accomplishments?
Yeah, it's going to be right up there, and it's just a story behind it as well. Did I mean? Obviously, I had a couple of fight losing streak in the UFC, and again, I feel I could have done. I could have done a lot better in the UFC, and I feel there's matches I could have won in the UFC. But yeah, so coming off that and then going to coaching, retiring, and then coming back, I think the story's good, and I think it's going to be it's a great win when I win it, and I think it's going to be a good story, and it'll be right up there, yeah, with my UFC debut and obviously my Commonwealth medal. I think it's right up with them too, really.
Yeah, it's amazing. I can't wait to see it. It's going to be really exciting to see how it all pans out, how the matches work out. And yeah, wish you the best of luck, and hopefully we get to chat to you again once, maybe after that first bout's happened.
Yeah, 100%. Thank you for that.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.